10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
What's good, Silver Squad? Welcome back to the Silver Site. My name is RJ.
I'm Dr. J.
Gerald, G saw that.
And today we have a guest panelist, AK from AK Watch. How you doing?
Hello, greetings. Lovely to meet everyone. I'm very happy to be here. Can't wait to talk about these episodes.
No, I can't wait to get into it. We was cutting up on your channel for a little while when I was on there the other day. And so we decided to have to come back. Yeah, it was good. It was good. Jokes was fine. So we are here to talk about IronHeart episodes 4 through 6. So before we get into detail, I want to know everyone's overall thoughts. And I'm going to start with Gerald because backstage you kind of said that these episodes kind of changed your opinion about the whole thing. I know you weren't hard on it last show, but you would give very fair critique.
I was pretty I had some concerns 1 through 3. I definitely say 4 through 6 honestly brought me around like full circle because I think they did a really good job of not only the storytelling but the acting. I think was way more elevated along with the storytelling. So for me, 4 through 6 were bangers for real.
What about you, Dr. J? No, there you go. You muted.
For me,
there you go. Yeah.
I would say overall, I think in our first review, I gave it like a 10 out of 10 for episodes 1, 2, and 3. 4 through 6, I honestly I would say I wouldn't give it a 10. Not a 10, but it definitely gives like 9.5 for me. But I truly did enjoy it. I also enjoyed that they stuffed so much of the story into a short span because easily what we got in the first, manifesting there will be a season 2. Easily what we got in the first 6 episodes, that could have been drawn out into 12 episodes if they wanted it to, in some shows. It could have been drawn out into a season 2. Like we didn't have to. I don't want to get too much into it yet, but I would say I overall loved it, and I love that they put so much into so little, but it didn't seem like it was rushed through or anything like that. So,
and that's what I was concerned with the first 3 episodes. Yeah, it felt like that to me. The last 3, even though they did put a lot into it, I think that it was, to me, it felt like better storytelling.
It was, definitely excellent storytelling. I don't know. I guess it was just how it's written because I'm like, if you think back on how much, like from where episode 4 started to episode 6 ended, there's so much.
Correct.
But none of it is forgettable. Like everything had its own like standing point, and it's not forgettable. Like none of the scenes, in my opinion.
Nothing was filler. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What about you, AK? What are your overall thoughts on 4 through 6?
Overall, for 4 to 6, I think I will give it a solid 9. The story, I think we got a little more into the action and also the inner workings of Riri because the teenage angst that was coming off left and right and her holding things in and not wanting to actually try to deal with her trauma and take responsibility for her role in the things that were happening around her was getting tedious. But here they came back. They actually let her assess this and work through things. There's a few things I think they could have done better. We can get into as we go through the episodes, but I really enjoyed this. They ramped up the action. They gave us more context for how some folks work. I think it was a really cool tie-in for Cree. Always shout out to Cree because she's awesome. Always, how her character and the character of her daughter were brought in, and I love it. I love it. They came in it was just every day, nothing wrong. Swoop! Oh, now we're in a pocket universe that I keep my magic shop in. You're not allowed to be doing this without my permission. But wait. Why are y'all so casual about this? I need all of your backstories immediately, please and thank you.
All of it.
I think those two ladies, those two characters are what have me even more drawn into this world. So it's like I'm trying to figure out who her dad is. I mean, no shade to Riri. I know it's her show, but those two ladies right there, I need to know, like, is it Mordo or Brother Voodoo, or are y'all bringing in somebody else? That's her dad, because she seems like a super ramped up. I can't even call her a mutant or anything. No, just a magical person, and you don't get magic in your blood like that unless you have strong bloodlines coming together. So I'm all in on the backstory for those two. Exactly. And I know her character is in the comics, so I hope they develop her just as much as they develop Riri moving forward.
And in his absence, I will say Jay did an excellent breakdown.
I was just about to shout him out. Yeah,
he did a.
Can y'all drop that link for his channel, please?
He gave one of the best breakdowns of her character. That even spoke to the question about what she said later in episode 6. So
I I love Zelma's character. Like, Cree Summers has my heart from the Different World days. So when she popped up on the screen, I said, Cree, girl, what you doing here? Like, when did you get here, Cree? I absolutely loved it, because one thing about Cree Summers, it doesn't matter what environment you put her in, her identity as an actress never changes. Like, her tone, her cadence, how she even talked to Riri and her mother, like that's Freddie from a different world, right? Like, her cadence did not change. That's literally who she is, and I love that every time that she's in any type of role, they allow her to be who she is, like just her voice tone, right?
Even down to the hat.
Yes.
Well, she's a lot less.
The hat.
Yeah, she's less bubbly than she was, obviously, as Freddie as a kid. But now, who she knows exactly who she is on camera now. She exactly knows who she is on camera.
Yeah.
So I think it's worth noting, on top of that, that how we're saying we can always see her in the character she plays. There are some actors where you can say that they're really just playing themselves in every movie role that they have. That's not what we mean when we're talking about Cree. That it's completely different. No, she just always brings that umph. I mean,
I feel like she's still in character.
I hate to use it so. Like, I hate to use it frivolously, but the best way to say it, for lack of better words, is literally black girl magic. She has that, and it radiates, and especially for this role here, just they're like, this is her element. This is exactly where she needed to be.
So much so that the outfit Cree had on in IronHeart, that's how she be dressing on her IG
all the time.
I feel like the outfit came from her own wardrobe. Like, she's like,
she didn't need a costumer. She came with her whole wardrobe already stacked and ready.
I guarantee you, she stood up on set with like 10 outfits and was like, okay, which one should I wear?
Which one?
Which one?
And they were like, action. Don't change.
Don't change what you got on. Let's go.
Exactly.
Yeah. But I'm gonna tell you something that really stuck out to me. They had they really, and not no shade to anybody, but when she and Zelma were on screen, they changed the dynamic of the tone of the show
completely.
Like completely. They were given exposition, but it all made sense. It didn't seem like just throwaway lines. Yeah, all the stuff they were dropping in there about the what was it, the Carmitage and all that, and they were like really like
that part.
They were breaking it down quickly too, and I was like, sometimes that kind of stuff you have to watch it again to catch it. Everything was like Zelma make a point, Melinda made a point, Zelma made a point. Like, they kept going back and forth, and they played off of one another in a way that just drove that narrative so that you kind of were on board. Because I'm gonna be honest, when I watched Agatha All Along or whatever the heck it was, I was just like, what? Every episode.
Really? I like that.
I didn't dislike it. I just felt like everything, you had to pay attention to every single solitary thing that was being said.
You did.
And conversational.
Yeah, you did. That's
understandable. And you have to have already, put it this way, the writers they do their research, and you have to already have knowledge of magic and witchcraft in order to understand a lot of things.
To notice it.
Like Mother Crone. Like that's a term that you would understand if you like knew about like witchcraft and magic and stuff like that. And so that's one thing that like I agree with you. Like unless you are like heavy in, because y'all know anything got magic in it, I'm there. I'm sold. Like it does not matter. Like if Tyler Perry had like a show about like witches, y'all know how I feel about Tyler Perry, but guess who's gonna be there?
I was gonna say don't even speak that into the ether now.
If he bought
don't do that.
If he bought Bonnie Bennett back and made a spinoff.
TP, you taking notes, sir? Just want to go get RJ to watch.
Right. If you need one more viewer, you know just one.
Just one. Do that.
You already know.
But like for when that scene started, and it started with Riri and her mom talking in the living room, and as soon as she said, I hate that. Hallelujah. Shut up, John. John is one of my homies that came over. He's always in my chats, and I love you for it, brother. Thank you for always coming to support us. The minute she said, I don't like that I have to say this, but I have to fight magic with magic. First of all, you live in a world where Thor is real, where Asgard and all of its legends are real, and you're questioning magic. I need 20 points from Gryffindor for that. Stop it right now. Secondly, as soon as she said that, I was like, yo, call Auntie. I clocked Auntie Cree having the smudge in that first scene when she got back home. And you know what the smudge is used for when it comes to magic. I said, what, call her. Why haven't you gone and hit her up yet? And that's where they went, and it was great. And I love that they just so casually dropped that. Oh well, when I was in Comertage.
Yeah,
what do you mean you were in Comertage? You need to talk to Dr. Strange. That's not a name that regular people know.
You remember the brain maggots or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
That's what happened. Yes, she got those.
There's a storyline for that.
Dr. Strange was the one that got those.
That got those out of her.
Maggots out of her in the comics.
See, and I know that from the comics. I question if that's going to come into play some way in either season 2 or just in a thing, because we don't know why she has those there. Her mom was like, where did you get those? And she said, I didn't get them from anywhere. What do you mean by that?
I mean, I think
they just popped up somewhere.
I think that they put that in there more so just to kind of play to like she does.
That's a wink at us.
Yeah, like a little Easter egg from the comics. So I'm cool with them not really exploring it further. I just like that they brought it up.
I really liked it. Right, she was the word. Yeah, I really liked how this scene played out, because if you want to get magical protection, or if you realize on your journey that, just like Riri did, that you need a touch of magic, you go and get someone that is the caliber of Dr. Voodoo or the Sorcerer Supreme, because that's heavy magic that she needs.
Well, I feel like let's talk about the character growth for Riri, because she went through a lot. She went through a lot in episodes 4 through 6. I feel like she was super paranoid about getting murdered, and she had like a lot on her mind. So I kind of understand with her, her doubtfulness about magic and stuff like that. Did anybody else get like terrified for her? Because I really talk about the acting. You mentioned that earlier. Her acting when she thought Parker was going to murder her, that should have me shook. Like I was scared for her.
So I feel like I'm sorry, G, go ahead.
No, you got it.
So what I was going to say is I feel like they did like a 50-50 type thing with those scenes. For number one, they normalized her, right? They gave her the typical emotions that anyone would have if they were in a peculiar situation where they didn't have a way out and they were scared. But I feel like they had to paint her in that way to bringing the character of her mom to show she's just a girl. She's just a girl. She's just someone's daughter. She still needed like her mother. Like you doing all this out in the world, you still needed your mother because you're terrified to protect the two people you love the most that's left, your mother and Zay, right?
Well, she knows she's not invincible.
Yeah, she's not invincible, but I feel like they had to do that. And even with the panic attacks, I think that's what they do. They did that for, because someone is going to relate to that.
Yeah.
Right. The panic attack in the suit. I'm like, girl, calm down. Let us land first. But you know, all of that is kind of like, I think they use that to normalize it. But then on the other side, from what I've seen with her character growth from episode 1 of her being technically kicked out of college, not knowing, you join the gang of misfits, right? Y'all start doing heists. You find out, surprisingly to you, that the gang of misfits are really misfits and they be murdering folk. And now you're like, like, surprise, surprise.
Gang.
Exactly. The hood gang,
and that's the team with her.
Right.
And then you see how her character develops from that episode when she first like gets herself out of that elevator in like a time manner to now when she's not as scared anymore. It's like, all right, if y'all gonna kill me, y'all gonna go down fighting. It's kind of like that instinct I feel like kind of kicked in.
Let's talk about that scene, man. Like, first of all, the 2 combat specialists, you're fired because how do you? It's 2 of y'all. How does somebody who don't fight take that out? You got to go. Fired.
I don't think they took it as seriously as they should have. I think
because they underestimated her.
Yeah, that was exactly where I was going. I think they were playing with their food.
Yeah, but like
that's a good way of putting it. Yes,
smacking the shit out of you. Like you, at some point, you got to wake them up. We're gonna have to step in.
They all smirked before they would fight her. They all started with smirking. They didn't come in they didn't come in hot and heavy. They came in like, she's gonna be a pushover. This is gonna be easy.
I don't know. I just feel like at a certain point, you
a
step
different
in
gripe.
Fighting back. We say?
I have a different gripe for that scene. I don't think that scene should have even happened. Why? Yeah. Because she was sitting across the table from what's her name? Zelma. She was sitting. Why did we not just do the little hand turn and pop off into the pocket universe and get out of there?
I mean, Zelma said she had it.
Yeah, she didn't tell Zelma what was wrong.
Outside of because plot. I'm just saying. We were talking casually in the voodoo magic store, and just all of a sudden, then you do a little hand flip, and we're safe in your zone.
Questionable writing.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
I feel like that scene wasn't really about the fighting part of that scene. Like, I saw it bigger than that. It led up to plant the seed and Clown that Rampage was actually murdered. And it wasn't by John or Parker / Hood. I feel like that's what it led up to.
Planted the seed.
Yeah, planted the seed in Clown because, listen, in real life, I don't know if Riri was gonna take the little the 2. I was like, that's not appropriate.
She would have been God.
I was like,
sign up, RJ.
We just got out of Pride Month. We just got out of Pride Month, ma'am.
And we're back.
Dr. J try to get us X'd out.
And I will deduct 2.5 just because it was still comical, even though I am a member of the rainbow flag, but still.
I would like
continue,
to say,
ma'am. That was hilarious.
Y'all assumed I said nothing.
Assume? No, I feel like that was an educated guess for what you said yourself. You outed yourself. You did that.
Okay, you losing ground by proxy.
Lord, I want to say I support all people. I support all people, all genders, all races, all ethnicity, all sexual preferences.
Oh my God!
And I feel like this is the disclaimer that needs to come up.
I just want
we here at the Silver Side panel.
Before y'all get any ideas
on the Silver Side or
some
not.
of my best friends. Really not.
Oh man! Oh gosh! Dr. J, you gonna be able to finish your point?
It planted the scene for her to get that doubt in Parker and John, and rather than just taking what they say.
I give you that.
Got the chick. Hey,
I will say though, there were a few times in that fight, I don't understand why Riri didn't move faster. Because there were a few times she had gotten out, she had knocked everybody down, gotten out, but then the camera pans back as they're getting back up, and she's still standing in the same spot. Ma'am, the glass was broken when homegirl came in. Why didn't you run then?
Well, that just goes to show you, like, she don't got no fight IQ. That's why I was, but I get what Gerald was saying, but I feel like
I'm
she
very
has
upset
no
at that.
fight IQ, and I feel like once
her mama is from Chicago.
So she was a little harder to beat. Like, kill her. It's two of y'all, and y'all talking about starting an underground fight club, and that's you got. Like,
and
what?
you can't take this. Probably one of the only people of our persuasion walking around shy what they call Chirac in some places that doesn't have hands. Like, you have the suit and you're a badass in it, yeah, but you both your parents and your stepdaddy are from the block. Why you don't have hands?
Right. Or at least a little bit of a mean streak.
Look, something.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Facts.
But you know, though, what I noticed in the series, and I think you had mentioned it earlier, Dr. J, like, they really do allow her to be vulnerable. Like, they allow her to be, like, softer, which is, like, really refreshing, because a lot of times Black women don't get to be soft, especially on camera. And so I really like that they allowed her to kind of expose her duality. Yeah, she's a hero, but she's also complex. She's scared. She's scared on top of knowing that she really doesn't have an option but to be a hero.
Yeah. And you know what? I feel like the soft scenes that they try to paint for her was between her and Zay. Like, y'all realize that was her love interest, right?
Of course.
Yeah. I feel like those were the soft scenes they try to get out of her, like just their relationship, but it didn't really show too much because it more so showed her like kind of pushing back, like, okay, whatever. I don't think her focus was that.
Yeah.
I feel like those were the scenes that they were trying to use for her to seem like, she could have a romance life. She could have, all these different things. But I truly do think she was the right actress to play this role, though. I definitely do.
Oh, yeah.
I think they left the will they won't they piece was more to continue the push of their relationship. But at the same time, I think they were also trying to paint the picture, and this is just the way I kind of see it, because a lot of people have that whole thing where she's trying to be Tony Stark, blah, blah, blah. No, she was being herself.
Nah.
She was being herself.
Exactly.
And so every time she was having those issues, those concerns, she thought about the people she cared about more than just the mission, because that's why those watches became important. Because it wasn't about her just like, I'm gonna duck my head because I know somebody's after me. I got to go take care of the people that I love and care about. Dr. J said that. AK, you made mention of that.
Yeah.
And that's how, a lot of her decision making started to really go towards, I got to make sure I take care of everybody.
Protection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My only gripe with her in that situation. Yeah, see, and she's doing all that, but not telling them why, especially her mom.
Yeah.
And that is why I felt her mom's frustration so much, because if you need help, ask for it. I clearly can see you have things going on.
Andre, sorry.
Andrea. And not everything adds up. You are stressed. And Moms has been telling her that since episode 1. You still are not dealing properly with your grief, and that's what's helping to affect these things now. And yes, she is all about protection mode. That's where she is now. But she's not telling them why, and that's a problem, because if you think your people might be in danger in some way, you need help protecting them. The biggest help you could get is from them, but they have to know what's going on first.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, let's keep it a buck, right? Her mom looked at Maddie and said, "Girl, you really do magic?" So what?
She thought she was doing flipping tarot cards and doing like little light things. Like, no, she a whole sorcerer out here.
Yeah, and just using a little bit of smudge, a little bit of sage here, maybe a little bit of
sage
there. When she turned around and said that, I was like, "Oh, girl, you in deep." Like,
right? Like Right, because they girls, and I took that their relationship and how much we saw of it is y'all grew up together, like that's bestie. So you thought this whole time, all these years, that it was fake?
Yeah.
So it can't be the only time where she's done some stuff and you couldn't figure out why. It's real. The magic is there.
So I say that to say, it would have been absolutely easy storyline for Riri just to say, all right, let's start with me pulling up to Joe with the black market products to meeting up with Parker. We did one robbery. We about to hit another one. By the way, the guy they told you that was dead, I actually knew the guy. And by the way, I know the guy that killed him too. And also the guy that killed him, I killed him. Like, I feel like it's like even myself as a mother, my daughter came up and said something. I said, slow down, baby. Hold on.
Said, start over.
Like from the top, please. Like I get. It would have been like an easier way. It was just saying like tell people exactly what you need and help them. But I feel like we're still. They did something with this show. It's like they put non-mystical in a mystical world, right? So you got her mom and Zay that they just live in their normal everyday life like we do. They go to Trader Joe's. They go to Kroger's. They just be kicking it. Right. They might even go to Harold's because they're in Chicago, right? Yes. Or Garrett's Popcorn, wherever. But then you have the Maddies and the Zelmas and the Parkers. And I can't even say the Clowns or the Twins. I can't even say them because Clown and the Twins and John, they not mystical. They just be doing stuff.
They're just there.
But you got the Parkers and the Zelmas and the Maddies that live, they live in like, what would you call it?
A whole different life, really.
Yeah, what you call it, like underworld, essentially, like the underworld.
And truth be told, Parker's still figuring it out. I mean, in reality, he's still figuring it out. He don't even know to what extent things are going.
He over there talking reckless to damn Mephisto. Like you don't know.
He was like a young man. Slow yourself down, though.
Yeah,
so you know that he gave you this magic cape,
right? I got a huge theory. I think that
what
is
I like
like for real, like big. I don't know how true this is because I've been kind of teetering back and forth. I don't read the comics, so I don't know. But is there the possibility that Mephisto's been playing chess this whole time?
Absolutely.
Yes.
And that Natalie was actually his creation for Riri. Hold on. Hear me out.
I'm listening.
When she couldn't get Natalie back, right? If you recall, when he sits down and starts having that conversation, it sounds eerily similar to the same conversation that he had with Parker. He showed him flashes of his dad. Because remember, he said, how rich do you want to be? And he said, oh, richer than him. Okay. And then because his first question is, what do you desire? And you hear that echo of his voice. And of course, Riri's mind is racing. Because she's like, dude, who are you? Of course, she's like, Dormammu. He started laughing and did all the whole thing, right? But he offers her the one thing she actually wanted and gave it to her. And she created Natalie by pure accident because remember, we went on this whole thing about how Natalie became this real manifestation of AI. Sentient. Yeah, but she was basically her subconscious now. The way she moved, like she was being her own person. But he literally laid out the foundation for her to basically stick her hand out to him.
Okay, wait. For clarification, are you saying that like Mephisto was involved from the very beginning?
I think so.
With Natalie?
Well, I don't think so.
I don't think that.
The only reason why I don't think that he was involved is because when they sat down and he said, I've been watching you for a while. I've had my eye on you. And I wrote down.
He doesn't interfere until the deal is agreed upon.
Yeah. It was something to where he said, because I have it in my notes.
So the only reason why I would kind of fight for my theory on that is because he can still dabble. And now at this point, he's engaged in a way because once she engages with Parker, he's involved, right?
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
they're going through this whole back and forth. She's trying to figure out what the cloth was and all this and that, right? The whole time, Natalie's helping her, but not really helping her because she don't know. I mean, in theory, she don't really know either.
Yeah.
But Riri is exhausting all of her brain power trying to figure all this stuff out because she was exhausted by that time. It was that one scene where they showed that close up of her face and she just like, I don't have anything.
Yeah.
Like I don't have anything. And I think he just sat back and waited for his opportunity. No different than what he did with Parker when he told him, just take a look. And that pizza door appeared. He takes him in there and he didn't even have a cloak at that point. So they weren't engaged.
He was looking for I think more so he was looking for an opportunity to, because he says that he loves the exceptional and and that she was a once in a lifetime, like was once in a generation level of intelligence or whatever. And so when they saw her intelligence and her inventions and her ingenuity, when you add magic to that, that's something that you have to think. And all of his eons of life, that he's never seen anything like her level of intelligence and things that she can create. So him being like, I don't want to say power hungry, but with him recognizing the level of power that can be attained from adding tech to the magic, I think that's when he was like, oh, wait a minute. Let me keep my eye on her because she's about to elevate, technology and infuse it with magic or whatever. It's going to be unstoppable. So that's the only reason why I say I don't think he planned. I don't think he planted Natalie or anything like that. I think he saw what she could do and then saw because he has deals with like other people. He said with Parker.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so I feel like if he sees that he can exploit you or he can get something out of it or it's beneficial to him, that's when he's like, okay, let me try to see what I can do. He was looking for a door.
So do you think it was just happenstance that Natalie disappears and she couldn't get her back?
No.
It comes with a cost, and that's what that was. The cost of adding that magic to the suit was what pulled Natalie away. Go ahead, Jay. Dr. J.
I was gonna say, I don't know. I feel like G is onto something because think about like if we're being logical, to get somebody to do something you really want them to do, a lot of times you got to dangle something that they want more. Like that you have to dangle something in front of them that they want so much they will bend their morals to do. Now, I think the easy answer might be that Natalie disappeared because of the magic. But remember, Riri had been walking around with that piece of cape, for a long time. And even when she went to Zelma and Maddie, they're like, this is natural and it's unstable because it keeps appearing and disappearing. And if y'all remember in an earlier scene in episode 4, when Riri's mother knocked on the door, she wanted to know if she had laundry or something like that. But what Riri saw when she opened that door to talk to her mother was like, are you going to confess her? Something like that, right? Are you going to confess? So I feel like something with her walking around with that piece of fabric interferes with something that's happening.
Yes.
Yeah.
I feel
like when she asked about her friend being dead.
Yeah. I think it interferes. And honestly, I get the concept of magic and tech are not the same. I absolutely love the quote. And they're like, you know how they say there's no bad tech, there's bad people. And then they're like, but when it comes to magic, there is bad magic.
Yeah.
Right?
There is bad magic.
So
I think that's Melinda said that, or Preet said that.
And I think when it comes to the scene of Natalie disappearing, I think it could have absolutely been him. Anything
I think it was something that took her away. I'm just saying I don't think he helped her create. I feel like he took her away.
So the idea is not necessarily that he created it per se, but more along the lines of he helped her not see her once she disappeared. Being there from the beginning is I'm going to keep a close eye on it. I'm not trying to win the whole comment section, but that's how I saw it. Because I was just like, so she was trying to create the AI, created Natalie. Natalie became a little bit more sentient as we go along, and then she loses her and literally can't even get any fragment of her back at all. And now she's just up a creek.
That might have been him because
that's what I mean. Yeah, like to where she couldn't see her.
I definitely think that may have been him in a way, because I'm like, to me, it just makes sense. That pushes her closer, because the Natalie AI gave her a little glimpse of her best friend that she didn't have before. Mm-hmm. Now you took away them both. You took away, she was okay with being without Natalie because that's all she knew that could be. But it's kind of like you gave somebody a taste of what else could be. So now you don't want to be without the real Natalie or the AI Natalie, right? So I do believe he could have had a hand in making her not easily able to come back, because Riri is a genius. Like, even if there was a magical, you know, if it was a magical thing, like she disappeared because of this, Riri's a genius. She could have figured it out in some type of way. However,
she did say that. She said, I can't worry about that right now. I'm going to go, after I go deal with Parker, I'm going to come back and figure out how to get her back. And even when we saw it before Natalie came back, she had a whiteboard. She was working it out. She was going to get her back, but she had already made that deal with Mephisto.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think he might have had a hand in it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, him interfering with her disappearing and like the whole code not being able to be backed up right away. That, I think that's definitely possible. But for him to have been in there from the very beginning, I don't think so. Okay. Because specifically for the tie-in from the comics, originally the AI that Riri has is actually Tony Stark. Mm-hmm. And in the storyline, Tony is also dead there. But because of this AI and, you know, plot armor and tomfoolery, you know, don't think about it too hard, he ends up coming back to life through this AI. So from the beginning, I think there was something there. I don't think it was Mephisto, but there was something at play in how sentient.
I'll stick with my theory only because I said it. I'll stick with it. Yeah. Who knows if they'll ever confirm it? But I'll stick with it. I won't roll on it, but I won't be shocked if somehow.
They're going to have to explain something later because now Mephisto is involved, so we're going to need answers.
I think the second she laid hands on that piece of cloak, that's when Mephisto kind of like, you know, I think that kind of opened the door. So that's kind of when I think that he started like saying, I got a wing, I got to find my way in there. That's when I think that all that started going downhill.
Yeah. You know what?
Him watching, I totally agree with that. Yeah, him watching, yes, but he doesn't take action until the deals are made.
I was gonna say, you know what? Now that I think more about what G said, now that I think more about it, I'm thinking that.
Hurry up!
Spoilers.
Don't catch up. Oh yeah, yes, full spoilers.
These are spoilers for sure. I was saying, now that I think more about what G said, I think back to episodes 1, 2, and 3 with what John said when he first met Riri about everyone knows you. Everyone knows how exceptional you are. And even that scene when she like walks into like the store and her pictures are on the wall.
Pictures on the wall.
That she used to do. So the reason why I bring that up based on what G said is, remember, they at this point they live in the underworld, right? They don't live where the rest of the world lives. So it could have been a plot since day one. He could have seen Parker was going off the handle for a long time, right?
Appreciate that,
yeah, he could have kind of seen Parker was going off the handle. So maybe that was his sometime interference, maybe to bring her over there eventually, because he knew he was going to need a new hood. Like if Riri is
set it up at least.
Yeah, Riri is that girl, and she is who she thinks she is. And I don't think it's far-fetched to believe that she, being the tech genius that she is, that she would get curious about the hood. Even Clown was curious, but they just not the one, right?
Yeah, they don't know how to interpret it.
Yeah, they can't interpret it. So it's not far-fetched to think she would one day get curious and see, well, how does this work? Because that's what she does. So I think if that is, you know, the storyline they go with, I feel like that's amazing layering, because from day one, if they were to do a flashback scene of how he integrated the AI system to even get an AI from her subconscious to look like her unalive best friend, to lure her back into him by the ultimate thing is, I gave you a taste with the AI, come with me, I'm giving you back the real thing.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Which I feel like is gonna wreak havoc whenever we see her again, because now you have to explain to everyone how this person is not actually dead. we're past the blip. You can't blame it on that. So what's going now? Someone's gonna start asking questions. I wouldn't be surprised if, because of things with Zelma and Kree, that Doctor Strange does get involved. Because when the high magics start coming out into the universe, Strange is always going to be there. Him or Wong is going to come investigate.
There's somebody about to come. Yeah. Well, you know what I like about this too. I know it's kind of off topic, but this actually opens the door for X-Men. Because Slug, when they were Dr. J, is John or Joe? What the hell is his? Hold on. Joe. Because I had to look at the banner, I couldn't find it.
Zeke.
Yeah, Joe Zeke. And so when Parker was controlling him, right before they kind of upgraded him, after they upgraded him, I think Slug had said something about like, I haven't seen technology or whatever like this since I think like Major, and that's like what the hell is it called? It's something. It's an island that they mentioned in the X-Men comics, and so like this, that's why I like IronHeart, because it opens up so many more doors. Mephisto, X-Men, all of that. Yes.
Where damn it, not Taskmaster. What's the other one? The one that Peggy's niece was in. Isn't that
Carter,
that's the
Madripoor?
Madripoor, yeah. That's what they said. Yeah.
So it's going to open up the doors for like.
So that makes sense, yeah, because Madripoor, all types of black market tomfoolery is going on there. So that tie-in was actually pretty clever. I like that.
I could see that happening. I feel like I could see that happening. I really, really want a season 2 of this. I would have loved it.
I think
so. They're already saying
that they are going to start continuing shows from this point on.
Well, they said they're going to, based on what kind of traction they keep getting from the audience base, and I think part of them figuring out that people were hating on the show and not watching it, that popularity wave has completely got people locked in. So I think that they are really trying to figure out what it's going to look like. So
yeah, I think we'll definitely get a season 2 of this and a season 2 of Daredevil.
Put magic. That's what I don't care nothing about nothing. Put magic in there. I want to see Zelma. I want to see Ronnie, Maddie, all of them. Read the tea leaves, all of that.
So let's be realistic.
For a prequel of Kree training at Karma Towers, like, man, what did
you
learn there? What were you doing? How did they even find you to recruit you and say, come in?
That would be a cool 25-minute short. Honestly.
Yeah. I'm down for that.
Yeah. So let's be realistic, and this is just me asking this question. Did Riri grow? Did she grow during the show? Because
that right there is one of the gripes that I alluded to in the intro. Yeah. She still, I don't think, is really processing her grief. Alan, she especially with like one of those last fights that she had with her mom, when she's been trying to handle her with kitty gloves and be soft, but then she came out with a look. You always went to Gary for help, but you never came to me. I see you are struggling. What is the struggle? Explain to me how I can help you. Yeah, and she's still in that mindset where even there she lets her in just a little bit, but not enough, and she's not allowing herself to properly process all these things, which is why Mephisto knew when it was time for him to move in, because she's at that point, and she's still, even though that she is accepted now, magic is a thing that can be used. It does factor in along with science. She still isn't looking at the broader picture. She talked about making herself too small, and now she says other people want her to be small, but now it seems like she's kind of dumbing herself down just to get back to this little bit of safe space that she used to have. But I don't think she's on the right trajectory with that. In some ways, did she grow? maybe, but she has a lot of work to do still, and falling into this trap is.
I think that's what makes her an interesting character. Though. I feel like, not to say not everybody has to grow, but let's listen real. We all know somebody that's the same person they were in high school. Some people just don't learn. Some people just don't grow. And I think that's kind of what's refreshing about her character is that she is flawed. And I think that's what makes this characterization of Ironheart a little more special is that she's going to just be, sometimes people just get stuck. And I think that's where she's at. She's stuck at a certain point where I don't think she's going to grow. I don't think her growth will be important to this story until she gets, until we get to a point where it's her and Joe Zeke kind of like interact. That's when her growth will start to happen.
But Zeke, she said something happened with Zeke when she visited him, and when he was in jail, she wasn't a value add to him, and he basically was like, "How are you going to fix this?" And at that point is when I felt like she's the problem.
She created her arch nemesis.
He called her a child that doesn't take responsibility for her actions.
Yeah, right. and that's exactly what she is. Like that man, he told you he didn't want to help her, but then she convinced him to, and he said, "Hey, do this. I understand where you're going.
Right.
Do not let this come back to me." And what happens?
Mm-hmm. She wasn't supposed to grow in this part in the first 6 episodes.
Well, and I don't necessarily believe that she was supposed to.
I agree, Dr. J.
Let me tell you why. Because her growing and her getting over her grieving, it would have never left the space for Manifesto to come in and give her back someone she lost, in my opinion. Because someone who's fully...
Manifesto. I didn't say nothing because I thought you did that on purpose.
What is the man's name?
You did that on purpose. It's Mephisto. Look, let's get that trending somewhere, okay? # Mephisto.
Oh man!
All right.
I'm sorry, Dr. J. I don't mean to be.
Somebody clip that and post it and tag RJ in it.
All right, take 2. Hold on.
Mephisto.
There we go.
Okay. I could have sworn one of y'all said Manifesto, but whatever.
No, ma'am. No. That did not happen.
I'm just saying she could have grown and grieved the way she was supposed to for him to be able to step in and give her back what she feels like she lost, right? And you're right. Like, first of all, can we talk about how they turned Joe into Chet Hanks? Like, he got the typical white boy haircut and turned him into Chet Hanks immediately. He went from almost Joe to white chocolate so quickly, and I was like.
He almost reminded me of the Punisher, because if y'all watch Daredevil this past season, he was looking rough in his disguise and thinking he only deserved to exist in a little hole in the wall in the sewer. And then Karen came back in and said, "Hey, baby, I need your help." Okay, man, and he comes back out to the fight, suited and booted, shaved, dressed and pressed.
That's not even Joe no more. Big Zeke went from a solid 2 to a 6.7.
Yeah, you know. And I'm not even of the persuasion like that. And I was looking, okay, I see you, sir. All right.
I'll bow out of this piece of the conversation.
You don't want to talk about Big Zeke?
No, go ahead, y'all. Do your thing. I'll wait.
Big Zeke.
What?
#Big
Just wait. Just let me know when you're done, Dr.
Big Z. Well, y'all funny.
I'm just saying, like, so did Riri grow? Did Riri grow? No, not really. She didn't really grow. But I feel like she went through a lot of trauma to try to grow, but I don't think that really happened. Like, even her panic attack, she didn't get better. She had like 4 of them in 6 episodes. The last one, she almost crashed out, literally, not figuratively. So she's been
crashing out slowly since episode 1.
Yeah.
And that was one of my frustrations. Like, baby, please at least give somebody a hug. Allow them to give you a hug. And yes, she did let Xavier and Mom do that at 2 different points, but you need like all the hugs right now, Riri, and you keep running and filling your mind up with things to distract you. That's not gonna work, baby. It's not gonna work.
She's not ready to grow, and I think that is, I think that's clear at this point that she's not ready to grow. I feel like she's going through a lot, but I feel like whatever she's going through with Zeke and whatever she's gonna go through with Mephisto is gonna cause her like that. This is not her rock bottom. The whole Parker situation with Hood, that's not her rock bottom. You grow when you hit your rock bottom. Her rock bottom is gonna be with the whole Natalie situation, and it's gonna be with Zeke, and that's gonna be her rock bottom. That's gonna be what she learns at. The question is like, what's next? Like, are we getting season 2? Are we getting a movie? Are we getting a team up movie or a dual movie like Doctor Strange 4 or whatever you call it? Like, what are we getting?
So I kind of pure speculation. I feel like there's going to be this thing where somehow there'll be a tie-in to one of the bigger movies, and there'll just be like, it'll feel like some weird either continuation or it'll be a random post-credit scene somewhere, and you're gonna be like, hey, I see what they did there.
Here they come again.
Right.
Yeah. I feel like she's gonna pop out with Mephisto in the end credit scene or something like that. Or she's gonna pop out with the hood over her her IronHeart
suit. Over the IronHeart suit.
Yeah.
She may only have an arm left, but she'll have a hood in it. Like,
yeah. I think it's possible that I don't know if we're getting another Doctor Strange movie, but we did see like at the end of Shang-Chi, Wong went and recruited Shang and I forget what her name was, but the other chick, they got brought in like, hey, you're it. Come join the crew. Let me brief you real quick. This is our next mission. I think something is going to happen. I can't pinpoint what just yet, but it's going to have to do with magic, and it's going to be somewhat centered around Zelma and the Hood, the old Hood.
Yeah.
I don't remember what his first name was, but because of that Easter egg that we got at the end of Ep 6, I think that's where it's gonna pull in, and this is where again why I think Riri should have been telling people what the actual danger was. Zelma should have known who this guy was already.
Yeah,
absolutely.
That was the
now
big
she's in a trap.
Like for
now
him
she's
to
trapped.
be able to, I agree. I'm sorry about that. For him to be able to walk in and Zelma has no clue who he is, and she's just like, someone's like, "Hey, do you do real magic?" And Zelma's like, "Let me show you my real magic." Like, let me show you. For her not to have absolutely no clue who he is, like, I don't like that writing. I don't like how they did that, because I'm like, come on now, why does she not know unless she's playing it off like she doesn't know? Because I was telling a friend of mine, I was like, she has to sense something, because when Riri walked in and the piece of Hood was in her pocket, she didn't say anything. Zelma was like, "Are you here about what's in your pocket?"
What's
and then Riri admitted it. And she didn't say anything. So I'm like, it seems like her sense of awareness, I don't know if it's a magic thing. Her discernment seems very strong. So I'm wondering if she could, like, sense that, who this guy
like, even though
maybe she
even though he doesn't have the cloak, she would see his aura, because an energy like that is going to leave marks on the person that wore.
I think that you have to think too, when Riri called Mephisto, when Riri called Manifesto, when she called him Dormammu, when she called him Dormammu,
she thought he was Dormammu, because she doesn't know anything about Mephisto.
Exactly. And so he laughed in her face.
Like, that little punk.
Like, exactly. Like, Dormammu is so beneath Mephisto that he laughs at his name. And so I'm thinking that maybe Mephisto is so, I guess high. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Like, so high up that maybe he's up there. They can't. He's up there. So maybe she couldn't. Like, so maybe she doesn't know about him. All they knew was that this, whatever it was, had an extremely dark signature from probably the most dark universe that they know of, known and unknown. And so I think that when she said known and unknown, to me, that gave me the sense that there's more that they don't know about magic, because they're not all omnipotent, all knowing. Yeah, they're not all knowing when it comes to magic, like everything you have to learn. So I feel like I don't think they knew about Mephisto. I don't think they knew.
Yeah, absolutely. Because even when the magic went wrong in the suit, literally, I don't even have like a book to do like a reenactment. When the magic went wrong in the suit, here goes Zelma. She's trying to flip through page 85. Right page. Definitely not all knowing. You know, she's still learning. And I think even when it comes to Zelma, she said that she wanted to go to the school or whatever it is, but she was just like, except I have to learn from these books.
Right? I have a question. Because I would like to get y'all's opinion on this. I'm not sure like what era of TV shows may have been on for you guys, but for me, in my early 20s, it may still be happening now. I don't know. I don't have cable anymore. But TNT every morning, or was it CBS? One of them will have a run of Charmed episodes for like 4 hours.
I woke up with Charmed every morning.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I treasured my mornings off because I knew once I woke up, Charmed was going to be on the screen and I'm going to go on my Hallowell adventure of the morning. And they also were very new to their magic and always just flipping through the Book of Shadows. Once they saw something that was familiar for the enemy attacking them, they knew at least what part of the book to try to find a spell to help them. This right here, see, with Zelma, I feel like she would recognize something about what's his name when he came in, but this is why we should have actually had her and Kree staying at Carmitage, so you can get that knowledge. And I understand Kree's mindset, where she's saying, that's no place to raise a child. However, I think you knew you just gave birth to this super magical baby. What better place to train her for her magic?
But listen, though, she said that, she's glad she didn't send her to school because she created a new kind of magic. Mm-hmm. And so I think that that's going to be important a little later on in the series. I feel like they're going to have to, shit's going to get so deep that they're going to have to go seeking the knowledge. And I think that's when they'll go back to the school, and that's when they'll learn about Mephisto. I feel like knowledge is going to have to come into play. They're going to have to learn about their enemy. I don't think they're knowledgeable yet.
Interesting.
Because she was panicking with that book. She didn't know what the hell was going on.
I'm telling you.
Well,
I almost feel like this is. I feel like this has the opportunity, and I've been saying this for a while in my past streams with the ladies on my channel. This is going to end up rolling into what could possibly be our Mach 1 of the Young Avengers, because we have Billy on the scene now, and Billy is also another super magical individual. It would make sense for some random hinky things to be going down, and it gets on the radar of the powers that be, and next thing we know, Kamala is rolling up like, hey, Riri, we're putting a team together. Something like that I feel would be a decent tie-in. And honestly, right now, Riri needs friends, because her not being able to relate to folks that are on her level and thinking on the things that are happening around her, I think she needs that a lot right now. She needs community. And yes, she has her mom and her people in Chicago, but that's not.
I think she needs allies. She needs allies. Yeah. She needs people who understand what she's going through as a hero. Friends and family are great, but that's really kind of pales in comparison if you don't have anybody by your side that knows what you're going through.
Exactly.
Did y'all peep her response though when Natalie said, "Hey, call Sherry"?
You want me to just go ahead and pick up the phone and just call Wakanda casually?
He hung up.
But
maybe she would
think that was going to work.
But her response though, like with the whole thing with friends or people who understand, like she still got to explain, like, here's how the crap show has manifest itself. Like Shiri gonna be like, girl, what are you talking about?
But don't all heroes have to do that though? When they have to go and get help from another hero, don't they gotta explain like, well, this is the bullshit that's going on because I messed up here, I didn't do this, and this happened, so I'm gonna need your help. Like,
or they have to intervene while you're getting your ass whooped.
Yeah.
Look, I don't understand why she didn't apply, put in the application to just become a citizen of Wakanda. Like, you could have called back home and got your mom and Kree and Zelma, because why did you need to even go back to funky ass here? Like at all? Just you could have stayed in Wakanda. Complete your internship there.
People up.
Right, like, hey, can we let's get the paperwork in, and shameless plug, Reggie. I did just recently be able to tell ICE to shut the fuck up and get the hell away from me because I got my citizenship. So I'm a little bit safer in the country right now. They can still come snatch me if you know what's going on. I still don't feel 100% safe.
You know what, AK? You don't get no warrants, don't miss no jury duty, don't get no traffic tickets because they taking naturalized citizens too. You don't want to be in
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why I don't feel completely safe. I'm almost there, but shit is hinky, and I have a government job. I literally work with politicians. I don't feel safe. So pray for all our folk that are going through that. But I think she should have just went ahead and moved to Wakanda, because you talk to Shuri, you literally have the queen right there. You have her ear. If you would have asked, I don't think she would have said no.
But I really wonder what happened to have her leave, because she said that her studying abroad or whatever was up. Like, did they get tired of you? Like, were you not doing shit over there either? Because like I just feel like it's very hard to get kicked out of Wakanda.
After you killed Queen Ramonda, I mean,
but I think if I'm not mistaken, I think she was saying she wanted to go back to her life. She basically said
she chose to go back.
Yeah, it wasn't like they was like, you need to stay because your life is in danger still. It was kind of like a mutual understanding, like, okay, bro, we came and got you to help you. We're good for right now. If that's what you want to do, let's do it.
You can't take the tech with you. Sorry, you got to leave that here, but you can go home if you want to.
It said, check your pockets. Check your pockets.
She had to go through the metal detector.
Yeah.
She is from Chicago, above all else.
Look, she do be stealing.
No shade.
No
shade, okay?
I don't want no Brooklyn Chicago people for real.
She repossessed the suit.
At all.
She repossessed the suit, man. She repossessed it. That was her check. That was her work.
What was it hers to begin with, though?
For nothing.
Meanwhile, G just mentioned the suit. Can we talk about the upgrade in suit number 2? Well, in the
how the suit is made of.
Go ahead. No, I was gonna say the upgrade when she redid her whole the suit, right? Like that was a real upgrade.
Yeah,
it's made out of the car.
Because the car part didn't Shuri and them say they rebuilt her car, did. So there is a little bit of Wakanda ingenuity in that.
Yeah, but I don't think it was made out of vibranium. I think it was.
No, definitely not. Yeah, sure it wouldn't do that.
And then they basically put a spell on it to make it work with to fight the best materials it could be made out of. That's what's in that car. So
I feel like it's still made out of Mega Blocks because he was still pulling it apart. Like,
what's a car? You can pull a car apart.
Right, yeah, but it's like, damn.
Every one of her suits took a beating, bro.
Yeah, but still, it's like, come on.
Zeke murked her other suit.
Like,
I feel like murked is too small of a word. Yeah. He shredded that shit.
Yeah. I love when Zeke was fighting. He punched somebody. I'm sorry. He kicked somebody up like that.
It's not my fault, I swear.
I low-key felt bad for him,
though. You and me both. When I saw that they changed the programming for Parker to command that suit or that tech when they were putting in him, I said, "Oh, he about to suffer."
I want to know. Yeah, I want to know exactly how he did that. Like, what nanobots did you put in there to be able to backdoor hack all that shit you were putting into him? And also, again, this is a gripe, Riri. You created your own arch nemesis.
Yeah.
Okay, this was also this was her story, but this was also his supervillain origin story. I wouldn't blame this dude for going out there and doing whatever, because now he absolutely has to stay out of the eye of the public. He was trying to do that already, because his dad was a jerk, and he didn't want to be anything like him, and Riri pulled him in. So now we're here.
But you know what?
I feel bad for him.
You know what scene I really liked is when she showed up to the hideout and she was like, "Hey, Zeke, I'm actually looking for Parker. So if you could please like move to the side and let me deal with Parker, I'd really appreciate." Like that was so polite. Like,
she's a nice girl. I mean, I guess he just let her off. So she's like, I don't got no smoke. Just get out the way from me real quick. Let me handle this one little thing so I could go back home.
So I think what happened, but I think what happened with the programming piece. So I think when they were bringing all the stuff in, and Slug and Zeke were kind of talking like programming, and she was like, "Well, why don't you do blah 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 blah?" And then he was like, "Oh well, because of this and this." So I think at that point she was already working on trying to break that whatever he had written, and so I think that's how they did, because they literally, his name was up there, and then you saw her take his name out and then put Parker's name in.
So you gotta watch the show.
That's true. You know what?
I didn't notice that.
That scene.
Wait, which part is that?
So it's the scene it's the scene when the guy hooked Big Zeke up, right? And it said like Ezekiel Stain, and then the second name where it said Ezekiel Stain, he took it out. They took it out, and then he put Parker Robbins on it. So I guess
actually replaced his name as the administrator or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I guess that was the part that, like, I didn't understand it at the point I saw it, but I was like, okay, I don't know.
Because they were asking specifically, I think that was part of the ruse of trying to like figure out, okay, how do I get around the security of it? Because that's when they were talking, and then he was like, "Oh, okay. Well, why didn't you do this?" And then he was like, he started explaining it, and then it was kind of like a throwaway, like, "Oh, okay," and then. Right when you see the screen pop up, you saw the name get erased, and then you see the other name pop up.
Hey, G, what does the screen say?
Okay, yeah.
What's that name?
Joe Big Zeke.
Big Zeke. Exactly.
Big Zeke.
Little stuff like that. You need to take it out and put Joe Dr. J's guy.
Right?
Whoa. Not even my type.
Oh man. But yeah, I think that's kind of what happened with that. But I feel bad for dude, man. I was like, bro, ain't got a chance. When he told him, he's like, I don't typically eat. So he's like, eat.
He did not want to be where he ended up. And shout out for him scaring off Karen. I don't feel bad about saying it. I would have ran across the street and hit her dead in her jaw, because bitch, stop talking to me. Okay.
Right.
When you talk to me, you shut the fuck up. That's just it, plain and simple. She's been terrorizing this man for how many years? How long he lived on that block? Nah.
Yeah.
I'm surprised he didn't just flowers. I'm surprised he didn't sit there and zap all of them while he was in front of her.
Right. Yeah, I'd have ripped all of them up and just threw them in her face.
One thing I do want to talk about, one critique I have is I feel like the final battle was a little bit quick. Granted, we all know that all she had to do was take the hood off, which is not really that difficult. I don't know. I was expecting a big grand fight. For how scared she was of this man, I was expecting a little bit, not a lot more, but just like a little bit more back and forth. I thought the ending was clever with the hologram.
That was player. I love
it. That was like
that was tight.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah, it reminded me of what Thanos got Gamora.
Yeah,
it was slick. Yep. It was slick.
Maybe think of Total Recall.
Yeah.
They definitely did treat that final battle like they were running out of time to film. Like, hurry up, get it over with real quick. They kind of did treat it like that.
Especially based off the buildup.
Yeah.
I did think it was amazing when man was under that water for 11 minutes.
Right, he was literally in his own, makeshift Acme level deprivation chamber.
Man, when it was like they purposely panned the camera so you could see how long he was under. I was like, that's crazy.
I think
right then and there, he's off the rails.
Yeah,
like I think that's a cool fact because John dropped it in episode 1, 2, or 3. That when he's invisible, he got to hold his breath to do that. So
he did say that.
I think that's like a cool little fact because like, why is it necessary to hold your breath? But I get it because now that's why we know he takes ice baths because that's his practice of holding his breath.
That's his training. Yeah,
that's how
I didn't catch that. I didn't catch that.
It didn't even dawn on me.
That made that scene make so much more sense.
But I want to know why though. Like I get it, but I'm like, why is it that when they're invisible, they have to hold their breath?
Right.
Like, I think that just may be one of those.
Because if you watch any show that's centered around magic, like there has to be some sort of balance. Nothing can
happen to activate. Yeah,
exactly. It has to have magic. Has to have some kind of limit. So I think that's just the limit of that. That's the way to control that.
They're gonna have to override that feature for Riri because my girl got panic attacks. She can't be
that's right. Like
look like she's glitching.
That's a very weird thing to have to do every single time.
That's why you gotta.
This isn't like you're right. Like it's not like you're going deep sea diving every time. And this is magic we're talking about. It comes at a price, but. Just having to hold your breath in the meantime is that I don't know. That just seems weird.
But I think the breath holding piece is more of a device for whatever he's doing. Like prime example, when they showed him,
is he tapping into the dark universe?
Probably. I mean, I think that's just a part of it. But just like how he popped up behind his dad when he had the gun to his head, because he moved the bullet.
He went invisible,
Right. So there's other things. The other parts of the enchantments or whatever that he can do, but I think that part is more just a happenstance of the whole idea of the disappearing part. I think that's just another tool in part of his battle or whatever. Not necessarily. I mean, obviously, if he's just been able to disappear and do nothing else, I don't know how useful that would really be.
Okay, this is all making sense. I like it.
Very much so.
Now I'm thinking.
I had a lot of just interesting thoughts that just crossed my mind when it came to just bits and pieces of things that were said, and then how it all kind of puzzle pieced together closer to the end. I didn't get. I try not to get stuck on feeling like Riri was like, being bothersome in a sense to me, because I knew that obviously you got to get to the end of the show or to the end of this chapter. But I think for what it's worth, I was being honest. I was pleasantly surprised that she actually took the deal. Honestly.
I was surprised she took the deal too.
I was surprised, but I was pleasantly surprised. And the reason I say pleasantly is because it feels like that creates the opportunity for more, not necessarily of this show, but there's more for her character to do to get out from under it.
I think we don't know if she took the deal yet. And the reason why I say that is because the reason why I say that, like, IronHeart do a lot of flashbacks and like a little flashes of what could happen, and it goes back to like what really happened. I feel like if they wanted to flip it around, that could just be her hallucinating about what it could be like potentially. But maybe she didn't.
I feel like she.
I don't know.
I
think she took the deal.
Oh, Dr. J, you're gonna make me watch it again.
No. I 100% feel like she took that deal, and I feel like that because, like, we just said she didn't really grow, and that's on brand.
Yeah,
that's on brand for somebody with no growth. The growth would have been, I've been dealing with this grief, and it's been costing me and costing me and costing me. I don't want to have. I don't know what is left for me to have to pay. So I'm going to leave this deal on the table because I'm not willing to sacrifice anything. I've already lost enough. And so I feel like that would have shown the growth if she didn't take the deal. And I think it's very on brand for the lack of growth for her to take that deal because she doesn't know how to deal with the grief yet. She didn't deal with it all season.
Agreed.
Fair enough. Yeah. I don't know.
I'm definitely watching it again because I want to see if there's anything I missed that said, because I love the fact that there's a lot of parallel between his conversation with Parker and his conversation with her. And the fact that he even said, because basically, what is it going to cost? And he said something you won't even miss it. You know, I thought that was I thought the dialogue that he used was slick too. To say something as simple as, "Oh, you won't even miss it." You know.
Oh, a piece of your soul.
Yeah, a piece of your soul. Yeah, because you don't know to miss that yet.
Right. Because he said the same exact thing to Parker. Because remember when he couldn't focus and he kept looking at that family making that noise and he was like, "Oh," and he stopped them and then he said, "You want me to do that to anybody else, or we can do it to the whole city?" You know. So he was laying the groundwork for them to be on board with whatever he was going to say. Again, with the idea. For me, with the idea of her maybe more than likely accepting the deal, I think that just gives a reason for her character's arc to go in a direction where she's going to have to fight for her soul back.
You know what I think too, and this is kind of like a long shot. This is me like fantasy booking. I feel like to go back on this deal because magic is now introduced into the IronHeart universe. She could walk the witch's road to get back what she needed to get, like with
I was thinking
Kree and she could walk the witch's road.
Here's the thing.
That's what I think.
The only way I think she would be able to get to the witch's road is if the Young Avengers plot came in and Billy came up to her. Because if you remember, the witch's road is technically not a thing. It's made up. And only because Billy thought it was real, he made that. That doesn't mean that, you know, the things that happened during all those trials didn't happen. They absolutely did. So, yeah, I agree. It does open the way for her to have to go down there. And particularly with Kree and Zelma, that even more sells it. Because I think she is primed up to have to walk the witch's road of, you know, her. I think it would be different than what we saw in Agatha, but something like that to get her higher accolades to where her comic persona is to be. It makes sense that would be the road.
Yeah, I think that's probably the best outcome for that. So now. Well, let me ask you before we get to this. Personal question. Would you take the deal?
No.
As myself or as Riri?
As yourself.
As myself.
You walk through a door, you end up in a little pizza shop. Are you taking the deal?
You know what? I'll play it safe. No. I feel like there would be too many things for me to ultimately lose. Because I could think I'm gaining a whole lot and then kind of find out that I'm on the short end of the stick. Or that my people are on the short end of the stick.
So I think for me, Riri's a different beast because she's grieving and she had someone to bring back that she really cared about, right? I don't got nobody I want to bring back right now. So I don't mean to sound mean, but at this 4th of July 2025, at this exact point, no, not for that sense. But then again, like I want to know if we could have modifications to the terms, kind of. Like if we could modify the terms a little bit, maybe we could like work something out. Like everything's
negotiate.
No, the house always wins.
Right.
The house always wins. No,
rules already set up.
If another AK in the multiverse took the deal, it would be for my little brother. But even at that, thinking about it now, no. I love brother. RIP to him. He died from a cancer a couple of years ago. No, I still would not take the deal because the cost is far too great. Your soul is a precious thing. And I am not trying to go through all of hellfire for the rest of eternity just for 5 or 6 years of power.
God forgives, though.
Yeah, I'm taking the deal.
Yeah, I was about to say, I didn't want to say, I wanted somebody else to say yes first so I could say yes second.
No, see, like, Richie, you were there with me and Meeks. You were there with me and Meeks on Monday when we talked.
I live on the edge. I live on the edge.
There's a lot I would do if I had powers, and I have no qualm saying that I would just be a good guy. No, I already know I wouldn't. I don't even know if gray area would be enough to cover it. But in this instance, the end of that line, the end of the game is just not no thank you. I don't want that.
Well, you here's the thing, though. You don't have to be a bad person. What Parker wanted was the money. And remember the deal. If we break it down for real, he didn't give Parker the money. He didn't.
He said he'd give him the tools to get it.
Right, the tools. Right.
So that's where he's mad. That's whack.
But at the same time, he's still whispering in his ear things to lead him astray, though. That's why the house always wins. So
John.
Nah. John, I'm not even surprised. I
feel like Mephisto would sit down with me and he'd be like, well, I can offer you yes, I'll take it. When you haven't heard, I will take it. Like,
just so you know, don't worry about that.
I'll take it. Where do I sign? I brought my own pen. Like, you
don't need a pen. No, all you need is for him to prick your finger. You put your blood on the contract. Ink does not live here.
Honestly, it is once in a lifetime, and I mean, the way the world's going these days, YOLO, you might want to take it for real.
I mean, fair enough. I give you that. I mean, we literally are about to be back in 1932. So,
really? Oh, John, slow down, John. Slow down, John.
Okay, look, you know what? One of the things that I always say on my channel is some regulars in my chat, they are the only trolls I will allow to hold lands in my kingdom, and John is one of them. Yeah, because he says dumb shit like that all the time.
It better not be no Camry, no Corolla. What type of car, John?
What kind of car we talking?
It's probably gonna be a damn DeLorean, knowing him, so he can just time travel and mess with all of the timelines.
He's gonna pop up with a 1987 Oldsmobile talking about his.
Now that man gonna pop out with a Dodge Neon. Like, well, that he said a car.
I'm just saying.
One of the most defunct cars on the planet.
Look, John, see right there again. I'm not. John is from the block. That's how I know. I already know what he gonna do.
John, where are you from? You take bookings? You from the block?
Not you over here trying to co-sign? No, ma'am. Don't do that.
Listen. For me, I'm a very simple guy. Like, it does not take much. Romantically, I'm very easy. Give me 24-piece Popeye wing.
Los Angeles, the city of Los Angeles.
Listen, I will sign for anything. It's not going to take much. So I will sign for my student loans. That's all.
Yeah, student loans be fucking hard out.
I'm sorry. So
I don't miss that.
So now that we've all decided who's going to take the deal and who's not going to take the deal, chickens. let's give
Look,
our
that's
ratings.
okay. I'll be the only one down here. That's fine.
So let's give our ratings for 4 through 6 and an overall rating for the series. So we'll start with Gerald.
4 through 6, 9.2.
Okay.
Overall, I think that brings me up to about an 8.5, 8.4 ish. Because I think 1 through 3 is like a 7 something, 7.5.
Yeah. Okay, Doc.
4 through 6. I'm gonna give it a 9.5 for 4 through. I feel like that's too high. I'm gonna give it an 8 for 4 through 6. 4 through 6, 8. Because I preferred 1, 2, and 3.
That's so wild to me. But
Me too.
Go ahead.
Interesting.
That's so wild.
Me too. Because I was hanging on by a nail thread. I was hanging on. Episode 1 had me shook. I was like, oh no. But I stayed in 2 and 3 kind of helped, but 4 through 6 was comparison to me was great. So
what's your overall, Doc?
My overall, honestly, for the entire 1 through 6, 9.5 overall.
Okay, fair. AK?
Yeah, I think for 4 through 6, I will say a solid 8.75. I liked a lot of the action. I liked the advance in some of the storylines that we saw. It was a good time. Overall, for the season, I will say like a 9.25.
Okay, that's fair.
And I enjoyed all of it, even the beginning, 1, 2, and 3. I enjoyed all of it. The story was good, and I'm very interested in it and invested in seeing how the story continues. So season 2, please.
Saw that, John.
See, that's why I said John is on the block. And we don't even need to explain what that means.
Yeah.
Okay, so did y'all catch?
Go look it up.
Did y'all catch his reflection in the spoon? His actual Mephisto's reflection was in the spoon when he stirred the coffee. Yes.
No, I'm gonna have to go back. I
promise. I totally forgot about that. Okay. Yeah, it was in the spoon.
It wasn't just in the spoon. There was another part. I forget what it was, but you could see like his shadow silhouette, and it was horns there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the spoon was red. Was his actual
with
face.
The red. Yep.
Reflecting off the spoon when he's talking to Riri.
It was one day in the dining room, yeah.
Right when he stirred the spoon and he tapped it on the
and I almost forgot.
Yeah.
That's the Easter egg, I think, because if you remember in damn it, what was it called? It wasn't Us. The one with
Get Out.
Daniel, Get Out.
Monkey
when she right, and that was part of the spell that he was weaving, and when he was stirring, and they made sure to tap into that sound and the tap tap tap. That's the same thing that the woman in Get Out was doing.
Yep. And as soon as he taps the spoon, you look
we
right
went
at
into
the
that
spoon,
flashback,
and you see, and I was like, "Yo, yes, I knew that was something." Yes.
See, this is why I say like shows like this you gotta pay attention to, and
the
you
layers.
Gotta really watch this stuff. And before I give my rating, I do want to say this. This is why it's such a shame that people review bomb this show. Not to say that it's the best project Marvel has ever put out, but the care that they put into the little Easter eggs is just as much effort as they did any other Marvel show. And I feel like it's a shame that some people will never get to see the show because they think it's quote unquote woke. And I feel like it's straight racist because if you do this every time a black I can see if every time a black show comes up, I could see if they did this like with every 3 or 4 black shows, they just trashed one. But every time anything black comes up, every time. And so that's why I can't take certain people's negative critiques of the show serious, because you're looking to like something because it's not about you. Overall, I thought the season was good. I'll give the season a solid like 8. 4, 5, and 6 for me get a 9 just because of the magic alone. that to me was what really pulled me into it. Like I liked it because it was black, and I liked it because I like Marvel stuff. But
unapologetically black,
all the way black. But when I heard that magic was being introduced, and I saw like they were really pulling it in, that's what got me. So I enjoyed the season overall, and I do hope we get a season 2. Phenomenal. Yeah. We got to get something. This is not over. They didn't just bring Natalie back for nothing.
No, Feige's already put the order out. He said, when it comes to the TV shows now moving forward, they are going to look into continuing the development for that. And I'm pretty sure we already have confirmation on Daredevil season 2, and that is when my girl Jessica Jones, Kristen Ritter, is coming back, and she's going to be the add-in star next to Daredevil for that.
Okay, good. I don't know. I'm excited. I can't wait to see what the next phase of Marvel brings. I wish we had 6 weeks to cover, because that's what we originally thought we were doing.
For sure.
And then we learned that they were dropping 3 and 3. So we don't know what we're gonna do coming up, but we'll do something, I guess. So yeah. Thanks guys for tuning in. We will see you next time. Don't forget to like, share, most importantly, subscribe. Later days.
Peace out.